Today, WKBN.com published the first of reporter Joe Gorman's investigative series into why we see so much gun violence on Youngstown's south side. Now, this follows several months of our focusing our in-depth interviews here at 5 p.m. on that problem. Here's WKBN Community Affairs Director Dee Crawford talking with Joe about what he uncovered.
I'm Dee Crawford, and my guest and joining me today is Joe Gorman. And Joe is the police reporter for WKBN. Joe, you've got quite a history of involvement both in the Youngstown and the Warren area. Just very quickly touch on that.
I've covered Youngstown police and police in general for over 20 years. I did it for 14 years at the Tribune Chronicle, for 6 years with the Vindicator, and when the Vindicator closed, I came here and I still do the same thing. Okay,
you have found some very interesting things over the past 8 months. Hard to believe it's been that long. My conversation and guest has been around what's been happening with crime and violence, trauma, and other issues that are causing these eventful things to occur in our community. Well, you've done some research. Share it.
Well, I've always been interested in why the south side of Youngstown has been the most violent part of town. It's been, at least going back 30 years, it always had the most homicides. It's always usually has the most shootings, and I was wondering why. I sort of knew the answer. But earlier this year, I started to be able to access census records and look at break down poverty levels and the different census tracts on the south side and the crime and how they relate to crime. And there is definitely a connection there. And when we talk about the south side, we're also talking about not the whole south side. There's roughly 8 census tracts that are responsible for the majority of the violence in the city. For a rough idea of the area, it would probably be Glenwood Avenue going east towards maybe Gibson or Zedeker. I've always been interested in that. So after I got the census data, I also went back to censuses going back to 1970 because I want to show how the population and the employment rates in those areas, how the population went down, yet the unemployment and the poverty went up. And as those things happened, the violence also started happening more frequently.
What caught my interest, for some of those who may remember, when I was a part of Urban Studies, we produced a document called The State of the City. And it was done based on census tract. Mm-hmm. And I pulled out that document after we had our first conversation. And I was not surprised, Joe, to find that some of the same data that I put together along with other staff then has not changed.
No, it has. Well, we don't have the amount of violence in the millennium now that we've had in the 90s, which was quite off the charts, and we'll probably never see that again. But the areas in the 90s that were affected with violence are still that way. And but what I noticed, though, starting in the middle of the first decade of the millennium, is it started to go more east of Market Street. So currently, it's more spread out, but those areas in the lower part of the south side, west of Market Street, around the Oak Hill area, they're still pretty bad.
Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow's conversation, we're going to delve deeper into the census tract, and if you want to look at the data more closely, you can always go to WKBN.com and find the additional information. So join us tomorrow. I'm Dee Crawford, Community Affairs Director, WKBN.